today, Super Bowl 60. Out in San Francisco, it'll be the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots going head-to-head for a chance to win another Super Bowl. Two organizations that have had recent success, New England more than any, over the last 2 decades or so. But being here in this game, a surprise. Neither one of these teams were booked inside the top 10 of that outright Super Bowl market. The path for the Seahawks was primarily the league's best defense, or at least arguably the best defense in football. Mike Macdonald has been a force since coming over from Baltimore, and they seemingly got the quarterback right. Geno Smith was fine. Geno Smith was sought after by the Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith and the Vegas Raiders had the worst record in football. Sam Darnold won 14 games again, joining a ridiculous list of quarterbacks to win 14 games in consecutive seasons. The list is 2 people long. It's Sam Darnold and Tom Brady. I'm almost a little uncomfortable by the whole thing, but you got to give Darnold credit. And he had a pretty good regular season. I think you could pretty easily argue he actually was not as good this year in the 17 games as he was last year for the Vikings. But where Darnold was spectacular is where it mattered most. In a conference championship game against the likely league MVP in Matthew Stafford, where Darnold went strike for strike. 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, and maybe most importantly, no interceptions. A 31-27 victory that put Seattle here as the favorites. But Darnold and this Seahawks team will have to go through the other MVP candidate in Drake May. Entering his sophomore season, the Pats expected to improve. With Mike Vrabel in, Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, the acquisition of Stephon Diggs, draft picks that they were hoping to hit on high in round 1 like Will Campbell or Trevion Henderson in round number 2. But the expectations was not 14 wins. They were not expected to knock off the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. And yet here they are. And they have gone through very, very difficult defenses to get to this spot here and win that AFC. The path, though, in the postseason did have some similarities to the regular season. It wasn't the most challenging, but they made do. And what this Patriots team has done is this season is be opportunistic. And they have an opportunity here to maybe start a new era of Patriots football. The prior 2 decades defined by Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Now this combination of Drake May and Mike Vrabel may just run roughshod over the league for a decade. It's easier said than done, but my goodness, a sophomore quarterback and Braves' first year in New England, it feels quite threatening. It is going to be so fun to break this game down all week long, and that is what we will be doing here on SportsGrid. And I won't be doing it alone. With the help of my man, Joe Lisi. Joe, it is great that you and I will get to do this week. We will be checking in with a number of people throughout the week who are out there live in San Francisco, getting their thoughts around this matchup between the Pats and the Seahawks.
Yeah, you laid out a great groundwork. I almost needed an arrow bet. I was almost out there. But, I mean, this is it. Super Bowl 60 rematch. Yeah. 2 quarterbacks that can make a name for themselves. You mentioned Drake May and Sam Darnold. And 2 defenses that are playing at an elite level right now. Whichever defense obviously wins the turnover battle, shuts down the run, I think ultimately will win this matchup. We know about how dominant Seattle has been, 28 straight games without a 100-yard rusher. Wow. The 2 weeks of preparation, I believe, needs to benefit Drake May and, more importantly, this offensive staff. I know McDaniels has been in this spot, but I don't think they can go cookie-cutter in this matchup. And, again, styles make fights. The teams that typically break tendency ultimately win these games, Kev.
I think it would be smart to just start with the numbers that we have now. It's a 4.5-point number. It started 3.5 and quickly zoomed up to 5. We have seen a shop or two go back to that 5, but we've pretty much been sitting 4.5 for a week on this number. you're under the impression that this is likelier to get underneath this 4 than perhaps up to a 5.5, 6 number maybe.
Yes, I do. And again, I think the more that you break it down from the odds perspective and from the football aspect, and we talk about, all right, New England's not doing it explosively, offensively. It's been their defense. They've been more methodical, more ball control. They've been winning the turnover battle, and somehow, some way, they've been grinding out victories, right? The one game that was the outlier was the 5-interception performance or 5-turnover performance by Houston, where they put them into short fields and obviously had an opportunity to score. But the 9-0 on a neutral field or on the road this year, I think can't go unnoticed. I just think that when you break it down and the more that we inch closer to kickoff, people and gamblers that are sharp are going to be taking the points and maybe banging the under a little bit. If you like New England, I think the perception is you take the points and you hope for under the 45.5. I think if you're taking the points with New England, I actually think they have to push a little bit of tempo and be the team to dictate how this game is played, because if they fall from behind, I think that'll be a huge benefit to Seattle's secondary and, more importantly, front seven.
So what is so interesting with this side is, and we'll talk trends this week. I want to be very careful with how we bring them up, because you can usually shape any trend to get where you want to go, right? But in recent years, right, underdogs have been profitable in the Super Bowl. They win outright. But what we have also not seen much are big numbers. And look, it's all in the eye of the beholder, but you have to adjust for the stage, okay? In the NFL, 7 is a big number, right, in a regular season. In college, this is going to be a great football game, right? The national championship, Miami, Indiana. In college, a big number is like 35. My point is this. I think this is a big number for a Super Bowl. This is what we have in. People tell me all the time, hey, you should be grateful for how the Super Bowl are. You can, back in the 90s.
Right.
These
they
things
were terrible.
Were awful.
Yeah.
We always knew the NFC was going to win. They always did. Dallas or San Fran just traded off. Went like, this is different. But this is where we are now. And in recent Super Bowl history, we're used to just getting pick 1.5-point numbers, right? I've tried to go back through the numbers, and it's kind of like hit or miss on. They say the Rams-Bengals game in some spots were 4.5. I swear, as someone who covered that Super Bowl, I think that line was 3.5, 3 more so than 4.5. But nevertheless, I would argue, and I'm wondering if you disagree, which is fine. I think 4.5 is a big number for a Super Bowl in 2026.
It's obviously more than a field goal, but it's still a key number, the 4. Whenever you get that 24-20, we're talking about a push or a win, depending upon if it gets down to 3.5 or not. So, obviously, I think if you're taking the dog, now's the opportunity. I don't personally believe we're going to creep back up. I think we're only going to go down. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and I'll admit that, but I just think based off of perception and based off of just what we've seen, the reason why we saw it open at 3.5, right, is that's where the books established it.
Yep.
But we jumped up to 5 because of how explosive Sam Darnold in Seattle was, and how inept New England was with and going up against a backup quarterback. And so I think when you just take that into account, the perception is, well, Seattle has a much better quarterback heading into this matchup because of how Sam Darnold has looked, as opposed to Drake May, which has been maybe turnover prone. He's been making more plays on the ground than with his arm. And I think if you just play that out cookie cutter, that's why you see 4.5, 5. But I think the more that you dive in deeper, and knowing that McDaniels has been here and Vrabel has won 3 Super Bowls, the game plan has to be to really expose Seattle from a defensive weakness. And I hope that's the way it plays out.
It is going to be, again, a lot of fun to break this game down in its entirety. And I think you are well set with the both of us. But we won't be alone. And we're going to take a trip out to San Francisco after the break right here on SportsGrid.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel, all right? You got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like, it's still 2 in the morning. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow, right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. There's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. A, Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like, he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Pro football today on SportsGrid. It's Kevin Walsh, and it is Joe Lisi. It is Super Bowl 60 between the Seahawks. I keep, for some reason, wanting to say Seahawks and 49ers, just because the game is in San Francisco, but obviously it is the Seahawks and Patriots. This game being out in San Francisco is, and we're throughout the week, we're going to be joined by people who are out in San Francisco. We're hoping to talk to Jake Asman momentarily here on the show, who was out there covering it. And he's got a really unique perspective, I think, on just kind of the matchup and especially the Seattle Sam Darnold bit of it all. But this game being in San Francisco, Joe, my take on that is it is actually a sneaky, not advantage. It is hidden value in New England getting to go play in a offensive-friendly atmosphere after an AFC postseason that was filled with 25-degree and below weather.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think for the offense, right, and you look in New England, it's got to be a huge benefit. Playing in, like you said, when it snowed against Houston, the second half against Denver was absolutely atrocious weather, and you couldn't move. So there is no reason why Drake May shouldn't be able to perform at an elite level. That being said, though, again, it comes down to the way they've been winning games in the playoffs and what they're going to be up against in this matchup. And again, that's why I say you have to break tendency, and you can't just go cookie cutter looking to run Ramondre Stevenson on first and second down and then hope that you're in manageable third down situations against a team that hasn't allowed a 100-yard rusher. And I think when you look at the game against L.A., they mixed up the run, but it was misdirection. It was off tackle. And I keep going back to this, but again, as the week progresses and we get more and more info, I do want to know about Travion Henderson. I do, but Kev, I do want to know, was he hurt? Why did he only get 3 carries? Because, again, he was an intricate part of that offense. He is the home run hitter. Yeah. He's had 5 runs with over 50 yards or more. And we talk about success and styles of backs that could potentially exploit Seattle's defense, and he's that type of player. If you're telling me right now the 4.5's cooked in with just Ramondre Stevenson getting 22 to 25 carries, I'll take Seattle. Because that is not going to work against this front seven. If you tell me that Travion Henderson is healthy and he's a big part or a plan of this game, then obviously I change my assessment because I think he needs to be utilized much more than he was against Denver.
So, and we'll talk a bit about, Travion and Ramondre, but I'm fine to talk about it now. Here's the problem with the Travion Henderson stuff, Joe.
Go ahead.
Ramondre Stevenson has been significantly better than him for over a month.
Okay.
And that wasn't supposed to be true, right? And what I mean is, with a guy like Trevion, eventually during a season, they will just kind of gradually take over a backfield because they are the better, more talented player.
Mm-hmm.
And Ramondre got injured, and it cleared the way for Trevion to take over the backfield. And that is, again, that is exactly what happened. And Ramondre, in returning, was not getting anywhere near the same workload as Henderson, but was jarringly efficient in that workload, right? Which, again, it is what it is. But for some reason, Trevion Henderson can't get going. If you look in the postseason, Joe, 24 carries for 57 yards. It's not that they haven't tried. This is not a coaching staff, in my opinion, who is being stubborn of leaning on a veteran who doesn't deserve the work, right? They have found it's like it took first example that comes to mind. It took Tampa maybe a little bit too long to go to Bucky Irving versus Rashad White, right? But because we saw how explosive Bucky was.
What about Detroit?
Yeah.
God, you love that one. You love that comparison.
The gimmick, right? Montgomery starts every game. It's like, okay, but Gibbs is the only guy who can do anything. And this year, they started to abandon that.
Okay.
This isn't that.
I understand that.
So, I believe that eventually, I'm talking over the next 4 years, we will be very confident in who Trevion Henderson, the player, is.
All right, and I agree to that. I agree, but let me go, and you like numbers. So December 14th against the Bills, the game where they jumped up 21-0, remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. 14 carries, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 10.6 yards per carry.
Yep.
The following week, he gets the concussion against the Ravens, so you can't count that. 5 for 3.
Sure.
He comes back in back-to-back games, Kev, 32 carries, 19 and 13.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the playoffs started that we decided he's a non-factor. So you tell me. He got 32 carries, 19 against the Jets for 82 yards, and then 13 against the Dolphins for 53 yards. Oh, by the way, he scores twice.
Yeah.
But then now, in 3 straight games, he's only gotten 24. So you tell me. What am I? It's not like all of a sudden at the end he didn't get carries. He was getting carries until the playoffs started.
No, but he was getting carries even the first game, Joe. He only had 1 fewer carry than Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay. So what changed the philosophy?
I think I can give you that answer.
Go ahead.
Ramondre Stevenson, I'm going to include the playoffs, which drags the numbers down a little bit, is averaging 6 yards a rush and over 10 yards a reception.
I understand the numbers are there.
But so this is what I'm saying. It's not just that Trevion doesn't look that good.
Right.
It's that Ramondre Stevenson has looked like one of the best running backs in football for a month.
I get it, but we also see I get it. But he's still averaging, if you break down Trevion Henderson, in the regular season, he averaged 5.1 yards per carry.
Absolutely.
So it's not like we're talking about, Stevenson's averaging 6 yards per carry and Henderson's averaging 2.7. They were both a part of the offense, and now all of a sudden, since the playoffs started, he's a non-factor.
So
my theory is, okay, I believe something is obviously wrong that they're not telling us. Or you can't tell me that he's not a part of even third downs.
So it doesn't make sense.
Correct.
But what I mean is, in the receiving game is where you would think, okay.
Right, yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson has been the best receiving back in football.
I know. He had 7.
It's crazy. Joe,
I know.
Joe, it's crazy. I agree with you. It mostly doesn't make sense. It's what's been going on.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm very confident about this. Ramondre Stevenson, whatever his number is, he's not getting there in the Super Bowl. That is one of my best bets. He's not getting there.
Great. All right. Well, yeah. This is going to be something, huh? We'll be right back. Pro Football Today.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel, all right? You got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like, it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow, right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like, he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here on Pro Football Today, Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi, we take our first trip out to San Francisco, where we are joined by Jake Asman, host of The Jake Asman Show, does an incredible job covering the New York Jets, and will be out there all week in San Francisco covering the Super Bowl, where, Jake, I'll let you tell it. Weird game for Jets fans. Maybe not. Maybe this is kind of straightforward. The Sam Darnold of it all. Give me an idea of how you feel watching Sam go on this run and playing in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think every Jet fan is pretty much universally aligned in rooting for Sam Darnold on Sunday. Look, it's the New England Patriots. It's always anyone but New England if you're a Jet fan. And look, despite Sam obviously not working out with the Jets and he didn't play well, I think we look back on his time and we realize the organization failed Sam Darnold more than Sam Darnold failed the New York Jets. His two head coaches were Todd Bowles and Adam Gase. They never surrounded him with an offensive line. They never gave him proper weapons. They let his best wide receiver, Robbie Anderson, walk in free agency before his final year. And Robbie Anderson is a good player at that time, but he was not an elite number one wide receiver, and that was Sam's best option. So I think I speak for most Jet fans that we're really happy for Sam. He's had success. People just act like he just left the Jets and then became this. He needed to go to Carolina. It didn't work out there. He needed to go to, obviously, Kyle Shanahan and the Niners and learn from him as a backup for a year behind Purdy. And then he goes to Minnesota, and he has this unbelievable year. And people were still questioning him after that final game where they lost in the playoffs. So to see his rise, see him play like the player many of us Jet fans were hoping he'd do for us, it's a little bittersweet, but I think Jet fans are universally aligned in rooting for him.
The question I have, Jake, is what lesson we try and learn from this all? Because now any quarterback who struggles will just go, what about Sam Darnold, right? In the same way they were kind of doing with Baker, but this will now take it another level. Do you feel, hey, if we had the right pieces, Darnold could have hit the ground running night one, or Darnold was always going to be a project and this was his timeline, he had to leave in order to be successful?
Yeah, look, I think it could have worked with the Jets if they had the right infrastructure for him. I think the lesson is it's not just the quarterback. You need the right head coach. You need the right offensive line. You need the right playmakers. It's all together. There's very few guys who just come into the league and are able to have instant success at that position. And even some of the guys that have had success, right? Like a C.J. Stroud, for example, was the league figured him out now the last couple of years where he hasn't been the same player he was as a rookie. So success is not always lateral. And I think in the case of Sam, he was failed by the organization more than the other way around. And hopefully, the Jets learn from that experience and they put their next quarterback that they invest a top pick in round 1 in a much better spot. I can't say, the Jets are currently set up for that given their coaching situation. But again, I think a lot of teams, not even just the Jets, can learn from what Sam Darnold has done these last 2 years in Minnesota and now in Seattle.
Jake, what do you see from Darnold's performance? What improvements has he made from the time that he's with the Jets to what we saw last year with Minnesota and now Seattle?
I think he's got a lot more confidence. I think Sam, at the end of his time with the Jets, he was almost a broken player. He was gun-shy. He was afraid to make the big mistake. Because last year with the Jets, he threw 9 touchdowns and just 11 interceptions, right? I mean, he wasn't playing like a guy who was loose and confident, taking chances downfield. He still turns the ball over at times. That's kind of the way he plays. He's more of a gunslinger type of player. But I think he's more decisive with the ball. I think he's really understood how to read a defense, how to process better. He just looks like a guy that is playing confidently. And at times with the Jets, you saw it. And then that last year, I think, really broke him. But he's been a completely different player these last few seasons.
Yeah, it's been remarkable. Can I ask you this, though, because I have noticed this is obviously, here local. Like, Jets fans, they never really gave up on Sam. And I never really got it, to be honest, Jake. I didn't. People always wanted to root from him. And you mentioned, like, even in Minnesota, 14 wins, 30-plus touchdowns. I still was like, no way. What, though? Why did Jets fans not give up on this guy?
Well, I think you saw the talent, right? I mean, there were moments where Sam Darnold looked like he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. His last 4 games, his rookie year, he led the NFL in passer rating. He had a great game against prime Aaron Rodgers where the two of them were duking it out when Rodgers was still with the Packers, of course, at that point. I mean, there were moments his rookie year where you saw it. So I think that was a big reason. And after his rookie year, they go from Todd Bowles to Adam Gase, who none of us wanted as Jet fans. We watched him fail in Miami, and he comes to the Jets. They start 1-7. Like, we all knew it was the wrong hire from the beginning. So I think Jet fans always had, a loyalty to Sam because we felt like he was set up to fail, and that's the biggest reason why I think Jet fans have stuck by him. And a big thing since he's left the Jets, too, he's never bashed them since he's left. He's had every opportunity to take shots at them like so many other former Jets have, and he's never done that. He's always taken the high road, talked about how he had a great experience despite the lack of winning. He's just a great kid. You root for people like that.
Yeah, I actually think that part is underrated and very well said. What I want to do is take a quick break, come back, and talk to Jake about the other side of this game, because I'm sure that also makes the rooting interest from Jets fans pretty easy. So that's next right here on SportsGrid.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel, all right? You got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like, it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow, right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good. Yeah. But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like, he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football today on SportsGrid. We are joined by Jake Asman, who is live out in San Francisco covering Super Bowl 60 between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. And Jake, this Patriots team has been divisive for a different reason. We were kind of reminded of why they used to be divisive this past week with Bill Belichick not getting in to the Hall of Fame, maybe tied to some of the different scandals and whatever it might be. This team is divisive because their schedule, really, and their path and playing a backup quarterback in an AFC championship game. My, two-sentence synopsis is the schedule and path have been very easy. I still think they are a very talented football team who's capable of winning this Super Bowl. How do you view the New England Patriots?
I think you nailed it. I think they are a very good team. I think they are not a great team. Their record would tell you they're a great team, and I just don't see that. I mean, their schedule, just take a look at the top 10 in the NFL draft. That's been their schedule. Take a look at their path to the Super Bowl. Oh, but, Jake, they played some really great defenses, sure, but it's an offensive league, and look at the quarterbacks they went through. An injured Justin Herbert with their O-line being in shambles. C.J. Stroud is still turning the ball over the last time I checked. I mean, that was horrific, and they played a backup quarterback in Jared Stidham, who basically handed them a walk-in touchdown. And I'll go to my grave convinced, by the way, if Sean Payton takes the field goal and goes up 10-0, maybe that's a totally different game and Denver's playing this weekend instead. So I'm not trying to bash New England. They obviously are a very good team. I just don't think they're a great team, and I felt like the winner of the NFC title game was going to win the Super Bowl. So I still feel, as we're days leading up to this game, I still feel like that's the case. I think New England's good, but they're not great, and I think Seattle might be, far better just overall roster-wise.
Jake, I want to ask about how New England's won on the road. They're the 9-0. I mean, it's a record, and the way they've just been able to find ways to pull out games. Isn't that eerily similar to Bill Belichick and the Patriots of old? Not maybe many household names, but they are disciplined. They rarely lose the turnover battle, and that ultimately wins playoff games.
Yeah, it's impressive. Again, I think when you look at New England, they are incredibly well coached. They don't beat themselves. They have a game plan that is specific for the opponent. I think Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the league, and I think the well-coached teams typically win on the road. So the fact that they're undefeated on the road is really impressive. They do everything well when they need to, and that helps you. They don't turn it over. They're able to run the ball. They're elite on special teams. They don't beat themselves. And a lot of times, you lose games more than you go out there and actually win games. The other team just makes more mistakes essentially. And I think New England's capitalized on that, especially on the road, and that's a testament to their coaching. I just think when you talk about a Super Bowl now, I mean, is it on the road, I guess, technically, but it's also on the road for Seattle. It's a neutral site game. Yeah. I don't know how that factors in the handicap of the evaluation here.
So, Jake, I do want to talk a little Jets because it's an interesting spot, right? I thought it was a little sad that, and you guys know the team, so you were probably right too, that Jets fans felt they needed to root Dante Moore going back to college to stop the team from drafting him because that was the only thing that could actually stop them from making that decision. Though we still see some mock drafts go, all right, they'll just take Ty Simpson at 16. It's obviously an important offseason. What do you think this team will be focusing in on, though, especially as we get closer to the NFL draft?
Well, they need to get an offensive coordinator first because the Jets waited until January 27th, even though their season ended the first week of the month, to fire Tanner Engstrand. I mean, they got to get that situated, whether it be Frank Reich, or Greg Roman, or Darrell Bevel. Basically, three guys who are probably way past their prime as play callers are the options for the Jets at this rate. That's got to be the first thing they get situated. And then they got to plan what their plan is at quarterback. I mean, are they going to try and sign a guy like Kirk Cousins or make a run at Kyler Murray if he's available? Are they going to try and spend big money on a guy maybe with an upside in Malik Willis? You go down the line, I think they probably got to add at least two veterans. And then at some point, they are going to draft a quarterback. It's just a matter of, do they do it at pick 16? Is it Ty Simpson in that spot? Do they use one of their 2 second-round picks on someone? that was down in Mobile last week at the Senior Bowl. The name Garrett Nussmeier, I think, is going to be a commonly mocked pick to the Jets with one of their 2 seconds. I think that's kind of what you're looking at. Everything they do is centered around what their plan is at quarterback, because it's not going to be Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, or Brady Cook in a year where Aaron Glenn needs to win games if he's going to save his job and actually get to a third season.
So that is one of the most fascinating pieces of this Jets setup here, and it is where I do think, Jake, organizations run into issues, because Aaron Glenn needing to win games to keep his job absolutely makes sense. But the Jets also being aggressive in a middling quarterback doesn't make sense. It's why you guys didn't want Dante Moore. So, I don't know, it almost feels like again, I don't mean to be doom and gloom. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it already feels like they're stuck. Where it's like, hey, the goal is to win games. You win 6 or 7. You don't know if you like Aaron Glenn. You don't know if you like the quarterback, and we're just starting all over again then next year.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would not allow this regime to use a premium pick on a quarterback. The earliest I'd let them, if this was me, use a pick on a quarterback would be pick 33, which is the first pick of round 2 that the Jets own. I just don't think it makes sense. I mean, the option is what, Ty Simpson? Ty Simpson, who started 15 career games at Alabama and ended the year not playing all that well and was injured. Like, that's the guy. I mean, the track record of QBs with under 20 starts going in round 1 over the last 15 years is abysmal. I wouldn't make that swing if I'm the Jets. You have the 3 first-rounders in 2027. If you're not going to be very good, you're in position to get your guy next year and match up that quarterback, whether it be Arch Manning or Julian Sayin or whoever, with a new head coach. So that's how I'm looking at it. I know Glenn is going to try and win games to save his job, but he should be focused on building the team, making the roster better, and finding a way to prove you could coach by coaching up the team with a Kirk Cousins or Kyler Murray type as your quarterback. I wouldn't make the major investment in quarterback in round 1 this year. I just don't think the options for the Jets outside of Mendoza, who we know is going number 1, I don't think it makes any sense for them.
No, I agree. And to your point about Aaron Glenn, the defensive side of the ball still has weaknesses, right? That's been a cause of concern. So if Aaron Glenn, let's say, limps to an under 500 record, do they make a potential push maybe for a coach like Gruden that was mentioned, potentially for an OC job?
Yeah, I think when you look at their options, I just don't know if it's that attractive of a job, right? I mean, considering that the head coach is a lame duck potentially, like, why would John Gruden take the job as a play caller, right? I just think at this point, Aaron Glenn fired 9 of his 21 assistants after year 1. Another assistant left, so that's 10 of 21. I mean, who's taking a job other than to get a paycheck to work for a head coach where if they get off to a 1-5 start, he's this year's Brian Callahan all over again, getting fired with a 4-19 overall record. The Jets' schedule next year is brutal. They play the AFC West and the NFC North, in addition to having to deal with Drake May twice and Josh Allen twice. It is a bleak setup for them. It's why I don't think it's an attractive job. I think they're basically at this point, because they stuck with Glenn, which I felt was a huge mistake, better off just bottoming out another year, and you got the 3 ones to get your quarterback, and the job is attractive for a Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott, maybe KOC if it doesn't go well in Minnesota, Shane Steichen, or whoever the top coaches are. There's probably not going to be 10 openings next year, right? Maybe there's 5 or 6. The Jets, in theory, would be one of the more attractive ones.
So, Jake, last one, and then we'll get you out of here, and we really appreciate it. Again, the Jake Asman Show, fantastic job covering all things Jets, but he's going to have you Super Bowl coverage throughout the week. Jake, just with that second overall pick, is there a guy that you or the Jets faithful are kind of zeroing in on?
I think it's wide open right now. It feels like there's maybe 3 defensive players that are in the discussion at 2. Ruben Bain from Miami. I think he's a guy that we all watched in the national title game, ball out and make so many plays. I think David Bailey from Texas Tech is another name to watch. He might be just the best pure pass rusher if he reaches his ceiling as a star. And then I think the other name is Arvell Reese, who's been commonly mocked to the Jets out of Ohio State. He's maybe more of a hybrid linebacker and can play on the edge. I think he's an edge. I think if he adds 10 pounds, you line him up at the edge spot and let him do his thing. I think it's those 3 right now. And in an ideal world, I think they try and trade back and get more picks, but it's tough because I don't know who's coming up for any of these players.
Yeah, I don't know either, but there is talent. Someone's like, oh, Caleb Downs is incredible. Can't draft him at 2. Jeremiah Love is incredible. Can't draft him at 2. It's a very weird spot they're in. We'll see how it all pans out. Jake, again, we appreciate it so much. Great stuff from Jake Asman out there in San Francisco for Super Bowl 60. Jake, best of luck throughout the week.
Appreciate you guys having me on. Enjoy the game Sunday.
All right, great stuff. As always, Joe and I will talk a little bit about your total, a number that has been falling, as Joe told us. Next.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel. All right, you got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow. Right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, back at the right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. So we talked a little bit about the side moving, a.k.a. Lisi promised us Ramondre Stevenson. It was going to have a stinker. So we'll see where the total takes us.
Yeah, well, why? You don't like that?
It's not that.
What is it?
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's that I think, and this is why I love you, I think the truth always comes out. And I think that.
You make it sound like I
No, what I think is when I ask you, I can ask you about the weather, and I'll find out what you want for dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, you're going to get to what you want to get to.
Right.
So we'll see what you want to get to.
I just go straight to the point. I'm a bull in the china shop.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna skirt around it. Okay. We're gonna go right.
Yeah.
A gap. Sure, that's it.
Bull rush. Go again.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. This total.
Yes.
You said it's going to drop. It has. 45.5. We saw 46.5, I think, so far as the peak. I know.
Yeah.
I spoke to someone who told me it opened 47.
It
I'll
might
take
have.
their word
I mean,
for it,
yeah.
But I guess, have you been surprised by the number?
No.
In my opinion, I have found this to be. I know this is like if people don't like this. I think it's a very good number because I have no feel for this total. I have no feel.
It's understandable. Okay, but I still, again, when you look at perception,
Yep.
and you look at how New England's won games, and 2 of the 3 went significantly under the total, and you think about how dominant Seattle's defense has been, okay, and the perception is, okay, they got exposed to a degree in the secondary by elite wide receiver talent, right?
Yeah.
Puka, Devontae, and all those tight ends for L.A., and 2 backs that could catch out of the backfield in Kyron and Blake, and you say, okay, well, New England's personnel doesn't match up like that.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? So I think that's why you're seeing the 4.5s, and I think that's why you're seeing now the market come down on the total. I thought the total when it opened in this number was high. I think I would have made it maybe 44.5. To open.
I think why I am struggling with the total so much is I think it's such a middling number, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right? In that when you get a Rams game, it's going to be a high total.
48.5, 49.
When you get a Texans game, it's going to be really low. Right? Cowboys, I know they're not in the, they weren't a playoff, but there are teams where you know these are two teams where their opponent maybe sometimes dictates the total more. But I also think both of these teams are very capable of playing. I think it is on the board that this is an awful 17-13 game.
And then
I think it is on the board that this is a delight of a 35-34 game. I really do.
So you cover both angles. That's good. You painted a beautiful picture.
No, what I'm not going to victory lap. I told you I didn't know what to do with the total take. I promise you that. I'll tell you that. I won't be first. Hey, I told you. Could be 30, could be 65, could be in between. Huh?
I feel good that the total is live. Is for the over.
So so go ahead.
No,
select from that menu. You like that menu? I pulled up a couple of options for you. 59.5 plus 470.
It's like having lamb chops for an appetizer. I like that.
Yeah,
cooked medium.
I figured we'd get ahead of it and just print out your card.
75.5.
That's the highest it goes up to. That's the highest it goes up to.
Why'd they stop
I knew
there?
it.
40-35. Why'd they stop there? I mean, I'm just saying.
You're the best.
I probably would take it the 3-1 over 55.5.
That's the
with some props.
3-1. Oh, with a couple of dance partners.
Yeah, like I'm playing Travion. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Gosh almighty.
I'm going to come right. Butte.
Like I said.
Butte. This A.J. Barner has a little life.
All week.
Just saying.
Got all week.
Well, listen, you think the world is tuning in right on this 8 minutes? They're going to be tuning in all week.
No, I get
There'll be 1 trillion views by the time the weekend.
There probably will be, pal. So just keep your head on straight, and maybe you'll be all right. Look, this game, okay?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I could see it being, right? So, awesome take by me. I said, I could see it being high scoring.
Flip it.
Do you think it could be low scoring?
Yes, of course. Again, here's the thing, and I told you this.
So you're covering your bases as well?
I'm not covering it. You're asking me, can it be? Yes, it can be. Any game could be low scoring and high scoring. Here's the thing. If New England has success on the ground, okay, with Stevenson, it'll be an under. But I don't think they're going to – I don't think – if you're asking me to break this game down, it's got to be Drake May early on first and second down throwing the football.
Okay.
On running downs. If I'm Josh McDaniels and I'm the game planner in this matchup and we're scripting the first 15 to 20 plays, I get the ball first. I am not running Ramondre Stevenson to test the line of scrimmage. I'm not doing that. Because I know right now that just from the statistics analytics, that's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Can I run for 100 yards? Yeah, it's possible. But most likely I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah.
So okay, in order to run, I have to be more aggressive. I have to throw on running downs. I need my quarterback. And not only that, it's what I told you earlier when we talked about it on Sunday, is that I want my quarterback that has not really performed at a consistent elite level, right? He's done a much better job breaking contain with his legs than he has, sitting in the pocket and going through the reads and progressions. I want to make sure that he's dialed in. I want to make sure that I can count on him later in the game.
Yeah.
Where if I need to make a play in the passing attack, he's already thrown it 20 times.
Right.
I don't want to, we're going to play it close to the vest and then hope that he could pull it out if we're trailing. I don't want that game plan. I want a game plan where I'm the aggressor. I'm going to take the game to Seattle, and then we're going to look to open it up early, run the football, and then maybe sit on a lead. I don't think this team is built to play from behind the way they've been playing right now. And I'm talking about New England.
I know. And what I think – so I think that you've kind of laid that ground floor very well. Then what I'm very curious about is what you think, because this is what I know you like to do, and I think you do very well, about how you think a team should approach a game, right?
Yep.
You believe that the Patriots should be looking to lean on Drake May early and often, and by the way, I agree. I am very curious then what you think Seattle's thought process should be in this spot, so that is where we will go next right here on Pro Football Today.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel. All right, you got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow. Right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so now we dive into the other side of the coin. I think this is good. I think I want to learn the full scope of what you want from this game.
Sure.
I think this is a great way. It's a feeling. This is, two teams like enter a game, they want to feel one another out. I need to really get a grasp of what you're looking at here in this game, okay? New England, aggressive, throw it.
Yeah.
Henderson, run it. Right? That's where we are.
No,
Okay.
Later in the game.
New England, throw it a bunch, but also, please, Henderson, hit some numbers.
Sure,
Great, got it. Okay. Talk to me on Seattle.
Defensively, offensively. I think they have the benefit of being a little bit more balanced. I just do. And I think that when you look at the physicality of the offensive line, if we're looking at rushing attacks, I feel more confident in Kenneth Walker and the physicality of Seattle's rushing attack than I do New England. So I think they could attack it the way they did the LA Rams. I mean, Kenneth Walker had basically 62, 65 yards for the game. Yeah. 50 came in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, he was shut down. They didn't even go to the run in the second half. It was all JSN and Sam Darnold. So again, I think Seattle might take more of a counterpuncher's approach offensively. Let's see if we can run it. Let's see if we have a little, an edge up physicality-wise with the offensive line, and we can work off of play action with Darnold if we have success in the rushing attack. I don't believe that I think Seattle's going to play it that way. And I don't think McDonald and I don't think Kubiak feel, hey, if we're down the way we were against the Rams, we can't come back against New England. I think on the flip side, I am very concerned if you're a New England backer that they have to be able to dictate this tempo. If they're down 10-3, 13-3, I'm sorry. I think they could be at a huge disadvantage. Then in that type of scenario, you might get the under and get blown out.
So we'll talk some alt spreads and things like that. No, hold on. So this is why I like New England so much in this game. There is not a script that scares me. Not one. Because
I don't think it's I'm just talking the football aspect. Scare me.
No. I want to just let me make my case. So I agree with you that New England should come out and be looking to throw the football. Seattle graded out as the best run defense in the league by EPA. A little bit more vulnerable through the air. Again, the Patriots graded out as an elite pass attack with an incredibly season from Drake May. We saw Stafford move the ball on this team multiple times this season, right? So I should think that Drake May should be able to do the same. Why I'm comfortable in the game script is I think the only way in which Seattle is letting Darnold rip it, spin it, hey, whatever you want to do, is because the Patriots are pushing them. So I'm already in the game.
Right.
Otherwise, I think it's close to the vest. Run it. JSN screen. Like, I don't, you can famous last words. That's fine. I don't think it's going to be 17-0 Seattle. I don't see that on the board. I don't think that's who they are. I think it's only 17-0 if Drake May's turning the football over a ton. I'm not expecting that in this game. Because I don't think, do you think that Seattle is going to come out letting Darnold try and throw for 200 in the first half?
I don't know about 200, but I think they're going to.
That's what he did in the first half against the Rams.
I know that. And JSN had 115 and a touchdown.
Sure
he had 9 receptions.
Something, not 9, 8,
something like that. But
6, 7.
Yeah, 6, 7. No, I don't think 30 times, but I think he could throw for 120, 130 yards in the first half. I think that's very doable in the type of balance that they have. I'll put it this way. It's imperative for Drake May to get to that number, 140, 150.
I guess where...
Kev,
you trust the Seattle offense in a way that I don't.
Here's what I trust.
If I tell you New England scores 7 points in the first half, do you think they're in a bad spot?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they are.
Okay.
Might be 10-7.
I don't know about that.
You have Seattle getting to 14, 17, 20 in the first half?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think if they win this game, they got to get there. Again, I just don't. I do not see the way they have struggled on third down. They were 6 of 18 on third downs
Against Denver?
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Punted. They were basically punting on third down in that game. This is one of my strongest beliefs. Is New England pulled back the reins over aggressively in each one of their first 3 playoff games.
They were 4 of 11
because they knew their opponent was dead to rights.
Okay.
And I don't think that'll be the case here in Seattle.
I just think that they're dealing with the quarterback and a wide receiver that have it going on.
Sure.
And you play that style, hoping that, hey, we got everything in front of us, you're going to get blown out.
It's going to be really fun. I'll tell you what, we're going to talk to our guy Tom Vecchio after the break. Get his thoughts next.
You got to get on a bus, then you got to get to the hotel, all right? You got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like, it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow, right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. There's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good. Yeah. But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like, he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.